Championship Podcast. I am Tim, and with me is my co-host Patrick. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah. Hey. Loja.
That's appropriate.
There you go.
So we are here, and it is the end of season 2. And just like the first season, we got some awards we want to dish out of our favorites and things we liked throughout the season.
The final rankings.
Yes, the final rankings as well.
Tim loves reading off a list. Here we go.
Well, I think last season I didn't really feel like moving anything, but I think I could be haggled and convinced to move some of my movies and rankings around.
I'm your Huckleberry. Let's go.
Like
I'll fight you for it.
Sure. Well, you don't have to fight, right? I understand that I have Buffy too high.
Yes.
So that's kind of my biggest thing, that I know that I'm too much of a fanboy and too much of my own personal history with that movie, and it's too high. I understand it's too high.
Yeah.
So I feel
he's seen the light.
Yeah, I feel like it could bring it down. I just don't know how much to bring it down. Am I deducting points, or am I going to do like the teacher thing where I just change the overall points that I don't have to,
Screw it. Why don't you go from your bottom to your top, Tim? And when we get to Buffy, we'll realize, I got to bring that down a bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely not the worst. So it's definitely better than Split Second.
Okay, Split Second at number 20.
Yeah, it is definitely the worst. Okay.
Tim needs a drink. He's dealing with the pain of ranking Buffy lower.
Just remembering Split Second too. Ugh. I got at 19 Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. I still think that is worse.
No, but go on.
Well, you have it better than Twin Peaks, but anyway. No, I mean like better than Buffy. I don't like. I think it's better than Split Second.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Go on. Go on.
Okay. 18, I have The Lawnmower Man.
Mm-hmm.
Still think that's fair.
Okay.
17, I got Dr. Giggles.
Right.
16, Clear Cut.
Okay.
And here's where things start to...
Yeah, I bet.
Okay. So 15, which I have pretty low. You have a lot higher. Raising Cain.
Yeah, you're a real son of a bitch for that one.
Well, you know what? Hey, I think you got to give me some slack, because I feel like even you said the first time around not as much, and you really enjoyed it a lot more the second time around. So
I enjoyed it the first time. I enjoyed it even more the second time.
Well, okay. Well, maybe I just need a rewatch. I don't know. It didn't always hit right with me.
Okay.
After that,
it's better than Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
After that, I have The Vagrant.
Yeah, I also enjoy that more than Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Then I have 13, Pet Sematary 2. And then 12, The Gate 2. And here's the one you get really mad at. 11, Hellraiser 3. And then 10
tear your soul apart for that one.
Yeah, 10 is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I feel like without a doubt, I definitely want to drop it lower than Hellraiser. I want to bring Hellraiser 3 over Buffy for sure.
Yes!
Yeah. I just don't know how much further to drop it.
Oh, Tim, you're my favorite Cenobite. Let's go.
Well, because I still feel like I could probably end up rewatching Buffy for certain things more than I'm probably going to end up watching Gate 2 or Pet Sematary 2 or, The Vagrant. I mean, Raising Cain, maybe I could do another rewatch. So I don't know. I'm wondering too if I should bring the Raising Cain over Vagrant and Pet Sematary 2 and Gate 2 and bring, I don't know. That's my wiggle room. That's where I feel like I need to move stuff around.
Okay. Lithgow compels you.
Well, because I understand that maybe
De Palma.
De Palma. Maybe I needed to give it another look.
I'll lend you that Blu-ray again anytime you want. Buddy.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like maybe certain things didn't rub me the right way, and then with another rewatch, I can kind of get over it and appreciate it for what it is more, and I'll end up liking it more in a second rewatch. Is kind of my thinking, and I just don't know if I'm gonna really want to rewatch The Vagrant, Pet Sematary 2, or The Gate 2 is kind of the thing.
Okay.
So that's kind
Well,
of
let's finish up your list, Tim.
All right. So at 9 is Kronos. 8 is Innocent Blood. 7 is Death Becomes Her. 6 is Sleepwalkers. 5 is Candyman.
Right.
4 is Army of Darkness. 3 is Dead Alive. 2 is Alien 3.
Right.
And number 1 is Bram Stoker Dracula.
All right. Well, should we start getting into our categories and we can talk about it some more? And then you can readjust your list afterwards.
Sure, that works. That makes sense. So, do you want to start off with best hero? Since we usually start off with hero.
My favorite horror hero of 1992.
Yeah. You want to go first?
Sure. It is a slam dunk. Ash Williams in Army of Darkness.
I have the same.
No one else scored a 5. He got Bruce Campbell. Woo!
Yeah,
he was so
without
good.
a doubt.
So funny. Owns the whole movie. There is no movie without him. Just outstanding performance. He's absolutely my favorite horror hero of 1992.
My other two that I had, if I
your
were
runner up, who's your runners up?
If I were to nominate or whatever, who would be the other nominees? Would be Lionel, from Dead Alive, and Ripley from Alien 3, and
Ripley got my runner up award.
Ripley was number 2 for me. But Ripley, my only thing is, as much as I love Ripley, right? It's not even her best one in the series, right? For her, for the movie, all that, right? And as much as I might like Evil Dead 2, it's the best Ash out of all of them. You know what I mean? I like 2 the most, but the third one is the most Ash greatness.
Right.
So I just felt like that was the right pick.
I think so. I think we're in agreement. We're in total agreement here so far.
Totally.
All right, Tim. So tell me who your favorite horror villain was of 1992.
My winner was Dracula.
Yeah.
Gary
Oldman's performance as Dracula and Bram Stoker's Dracula, just woo!
He knocks it out of the park. It's such an original take for something that has been done so many times, and it's so memorable.
I mean, exactly. The difficulty that he had in making a role his own that has been done 20 times before.
High bar.
Yeah, and he cleared it. It was just wow.
Yeah. And it's still I swear, I feel like a lot of times when we even quote Dracula type stuff, it's Gary Oldman that we end up kind of thinking of doing.
90% of the time.
Yeah.
The other 10% is probably Bela Lugosi, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think.
Or actually, no. I'd say it's 9% Bela Lugosi and 1% it's Leslie Nielsen and Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Renfield, you. Anyway. It is a great one. Underrated Mel Brooks.
Absolutely.
As runner-ups, I had Candyman as my second one.
Yeah. He created a new horror icon.
Really did.
No one else did that this year.
Yeah.
No one else.
Without a doubt. I also had in this category, for your sake, Pinhead.
Oh, look at that.
And I also had Marianne Charles Brady.
Oh, wow. What? Look at you.
All things I considered, but it was Dracula. So
I'm so impressed with how much you've taken to Sleepwalkers.
It's going to be giving away a different category, but yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. What you got? Sorry.
So best horror action of 1992. This is another slam dunk. Wasn't close. Dead Alive.
Oh yeah. Okay. I was worried. It was is he going to say something like Army of Darkness or something?
No.
It's clearly Dead Alive. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Dead Alive was. Wow.
Yeah. There's so much action and things going on. It's overwhelming at times.
And the only movie in this that we've watched in this season that genuinely horrified me too. I laughed. I was genuinely horrified and just in awe of the level of gore.
Oh yeah. It's otherworldly.
If you are squeamish about gore, I absolutely recommend watching Dead Alive. It's something that just break you through because it's like it's portrayed in such a comedic, over the top sense that you just become desensitized to the whole thing pretty much
pretty quickly.
It's very hard to shock you after this.
Yeah, as soon as you think you're kind of used to it, then the whole ending action sequence happens.
Yeah, that last half an hour is perfect.
But then you even almost get desensitized to that because there's so much happening. It's easy to miss stuff. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. I need to watch it again.
Yeah. I didn't even have a runner-up.
I did.
What was your runner-up? I only had that.
Hellraiser 3.
Okay.
Hell on Earth. There's lots of good, fun gore in that movie. Lots of great action. Pinhead goes ham on that people in the club.
Yeah, he does. That's true.
There is flesh flying all over the place in that movie, and it is a good time. And Tim hates it, but I love me an Ice Dagger.
Oh, yeah. Did not like that part. I thought there was some great stuff with the chains, with the hell chains in that scene. I really dug that. But then there's like the other parts with the ice and then like the CDs. And you're like, oh, so there's like parts that suck you out. And then there's parts that are like, that was awesome.
This podcast is over if you're going to say anything bad about CD Cenobite.
I'm done with you. I'm just saying the sequence where the CDs are flying around him looks rough. And it looks about the same rough as the Ice Cube or Ice Death or whatever. But then again, it's sandwiched with stuff with the hell chain stuff where you're like, that was gnarly and awesome.
It's just so perfectly early 90s. I'm like, oh, I love this so much.
It really is. It's funny.
It's such a time capsule.
It just came up on one of my social media horror groups that I'm in of like behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah?
It's so funny to see some of these pictures of like all the Cenobites like all like chummy and smiling, but they're all these garbs and get up and the makeup. You're like, oh, this is so weird to look at.
Yeah. So Tim, who was your best horror supporting characters of 1992? So the winner was for me Alien 3. Dylan. Yep. Dylan, played by Charles S. Dutton. Dr. Clemens, played by Charles Dance. 85, played by Ralph Brown. Morse, the only survivor, played by Danny Webb. And Warden Andrews, played by Brian Glover. Just a powerhouse supporting characters in that movie. Just like, it is filled to the brim of like interesting character actors just doing great work. And wow.
I have the same. Actually, I have the same pick. It was pretty clear. I was it Dylan or whatever, right?
Charles S. Dutton,
yeah. He's just so great.
And I didn't even bring up my man Pete Postlethwaite, Lance Henriksen.
Yeah,
you know, Holt McElhaney, who has a small part. Just like wow.
It's without a doubt. These side characters elevate the movie to a whole other level.
Yeah.
And I don't think there is another movie that really comes that close to it. Maybe Bram Stoker's, but
there is one for me, and you'll be surprised what I picked.
What's that?
I said Luke Perry in Buffy the Vampire Slayer as Pike.
Wow. Yeah.
Was the next best supporting character because he basically saved the movie for me. It's from being unwatchable. It's like he was really funny.
Yeah, you did really like. I mean, and he was really great in a lot of that. But yeah. But that's basically what I had as well.
Yeah. All right. So
yeah,
Tim,
what do you have next?
So the best horror movie of 1992.
Dracula.
Dracula.
Yeah.
Bram Stoker's Dracula for me as well. My runner-up was Dead Alive.
Mine was Alien 3. But that's kind of where we had ours swapped. Because your number 2 movie was Dead Alive, and mine was Alien 3.
Yeah, and I'm right and you're wrong.
I don't think there's a wrong way to go for number 2. I don't think anyone's really wrong on second best.
I don't know, Tim. Does anybody kick ass for the Lord in Alien 3?
It's a very good point. There is some religious people in Alien 3. They're fighting the good fight, but
that's a good point, actually.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a whatever because Dracula was the best.
You could also say Van Helsing was kicking ass for the Lord. There's a lot of ass kicking for the Lord in 1992.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I guess that would be his previous reincarnation.
Yeah, but it seems like, well, let's not get into it.
Okay. Fair enough.
So, Tim, what was the most memorable horror action sequence for you
For me, it's
that we covered this year?
Dead Alive. And you could pick so many parts in Dead Alive. I kind of went with just the lawnmower sequence.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, I was almost picking the priest and the I Kick Ass for the Lord. But the lawnmower thing, I think, is just, it's so unique to the movie. And it's a whole thing you're not going to see anywhere else. And it's such cool camera. There's so much gore. There's legit like scare almost, like how the heck is he going to make it out with all these people around him? There's a lot of great stuff in that sequence.
So for me, the one that I wanted to highlight the most, the only scene that actually legitimately caused a physical reaction in me
is the eyeball.
Well, before the pus and the custard.
Okay, that's what it was. I knew it was something around that scene. Yeah.
The pus and the custard, and he eats a big old glob of it. And to this day, I'm thinking about it, and I want to puke. I really do.
It is really unpleasant.
Oh.
It really is. But regardless, I mean, we're both picking the same movie. It's such a hard movie to pick which sequence was the best. There's so many memorable ones.
It's the one that's going to stick with me the longest just because I'm reliving. I've rewatched this movie only the second time in my life.
Yeah.
Bad job by me. Just like, oh, that's going to,
Yeah. It's real nasty. Real gross.
Yeah.
I agree. That is...
so who got best kill?
Okay. So best kill, I did the rib cage death in Dead Alive.
Yes, same. The greaser ripping out the guy's rib cage.
Yeah.
Just outstanding bit of gore.
The way he's like
unbelievable.
Looking at it happening to him. I love how that happens in that movie.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
So good.
Yeah, it's hilarious. There's a lot of great kills and deaths to go.
I know. I was like rereading my notes for like, well, that was really good too.
Yeah.
Oh, but that one,
it's hard to choose the dude's legs that get eaten off. And There's just bones moving around.
Yeah. So good.
There's so many great ones.
And I'm not even baby. Was it Stewin?
Oh yeah, Stewin. I think it was Stewin, right?
Like controlling that woman like a mecha whenever he pops through her forehead. She's like, oh my god, that's incredible. Stuff I have never seen before, haven't seen since they made this movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We need to get Peter Jackson back into horror somehow. I need to bribe him.
You would think he would have at some point, right? Because he's definitely dabbled it more in his earlier work, right?
He's just having fun making documentaries like waving his giant dick around New Zealand. I
guess. I was like,
I can do whatever I want. I made the Lord of the Rings for the rest of so I can do whatever I want for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I am so set.
I saw this like one quick thing with Stephen Colbert on his show because I guess he's like a giant nerd when it comes to Lord of the Rings.
To put mildly.
Yeah. And like, I guess he had like, what is it? Merry and Pippin or whatever on. And like he wanted to like have like a quiz contest against them about Lord of the Rings knowledge, and he had Peter Jackson like do a video like asking the question. It's that. And of course Peter Jackson's like in his home chilling. It's like this guy had like whatever.
Yeah, no, he's never leaving New Zealand again.
Yeah.
Listen, Colbert I think can actually read Elvish, so I would not screw around. It's like no.
Did you ever listen to the Strike Force 5 podcast?
No.
It was really funny. There was an end of one of the episodes where they were like, okay, Steven, and they just asked him a Lord of the Rings question, and they all just left as he went on.
That's good.
Yeah.
He never minds talking about it.
No, not at all, yeah.
So, Tim, what was your toughest call when you're doing the wrap-up here?
I mean, I kind of was how low I had Hellraiser 3. Is my toughest call, and that's the one that I'm struggling with and wanting to move up, and that's kind of where I'm at with it.
All right.
Which I'll kind of save, I guess, for the end is what we're talking about. So,
I really didn't have one. Sorry to punk out like that. Like I guess like giving Ripley the runner up instead of Van Helsing and Mina.
Yeah.
But it's one performance that carries the whole movie is stronger than two shared, in my opinion. So that's why I gave her the runner up.
Yeah. I feel like most of all these categories is pretty much like, oh, this is the winner.
Yeah, we're pretty simpatico.
Yeah, we're pretty close to being almost the same.
Except on Hellraiser 3.
Which again, I'm considering moving up. Might not be where you have it, but I mean, yeah.
I can't wait. I'm gonna force you to watch Hellraiser 4 sometime soon.
Oh no.
Hellraiser in space.
That's the last theatrically released one, right?
That is correct, sir.
Don't
ever watch any of the other ones except for like the new reboot from Hulu. Don't watch any of the other.
I like the reboot. I watched the reboot.
Reboot was good. But like all the direct-to-video stuff that still had Doug Bradley in it, don't watch them.
Okay. I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
So what was your favorite first-time watch that we covered this year? This should be more interesting for you, considering
there are so many.
There was a lot more for you. Yeah.
For me, it's Sleepwalkers, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's hands down Sleepwalkers. Never saw the movie before, and I was really worried about going into it. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this movie. And I had a blast watching that movie. And it's my season's class of 1984, without a doubt.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to turn you into a Stephen King fan yet. Maybe I get you to read a book
Even
someday.
with all that incest, it was a lot of fun.
It's a bit of a drawback.
It's a bit of a drawback, yeah.
Yeah. So I have Innocent Blood rated higher overall. But I think my favorite first-time watch is The Vagrant, the more I think about it.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I know. I kind of regret rating that one as low as I did. I kind of wish I had put that one higher. Because the more I think about it and how weird it is, like it doesn't work all the time. So I'm like, but it's so different.
It is different. And I think the weird thing is it's so much more unique and original and interesting. And it doesn't always work. And it's kind of the same thing with Innocent Blood. It doesn't always work. But oddly enough, as much as Innocent Blood had a lot of great going for it, The Vagrant probably was closer to accomplishing what it wanted to do than Innocent Blood. But Innocent Blood just had more fun, I think, overall.
And a higher production value and all that stuff. It definitely costs more to make.
Loja,
if I had redid it, like I would probably have it like just below Chronos, like in the overall rankings. Like I would have it shoot up a lot higher. Like
it needed a bit more action or horror or something to go more throughout, and that was a big lacking part of the movie.
So what did you think was missing from 1992? What was Hollywood? Where did they drop the ball?
There was no Freddy or Jason movie.
That's all you got?
Yeah, that's what's missing. There was I felt like what we did for first season, what was missing? James Bond. And I think for this genre, what's missing? You don't have the tentpole like villains.
Well,
there's no Freddy, there's no Jason, there's no Michael Myers. Like none of the big people are there, as much as I don't like Michael Myers, but none of the big swingers are there.
Well, let's see. We were 1 year. Freddy died the previous year. Freddy's dead.
Right.
And Jason went to hell the following year. And we were a few years away from The Curse of Michael Myers, which is bad.
I might have been in the wrong state for that movie because except till the end, it really lost me. But there was a lot of that movie that I was laughing and having a good time.
Yeah, that movie loses lots of people because it is chopped to hell.
Oh, it makes no sense, especially towards the end. But like till then, I was laughing and having a blast with it. But I was probably in like a Jason Kelsey at that last football game state. So
okay, yeah, you just saw young Paul Rudd and you just couldn't get enough.
Maybe.
For me, it was like there wasn't enough like serious horror movies. There's a lot of horror comedies this year.
Horror action, and for sure, without a doubt.
I could have let like someone taken the genre just a little bit more seriously and not like winking or sarcastic humor or taking the piss out of horror. I'm like I understand it's like they're dealing with the coming past the 80s, like just But a lot of these movies were just still using either the same tropes or making fun of the tropes. And I'm like,
Right.
can someone just make like a ghost story here or something?
Or
Like,
something.
I
Yeah.
needed something, just a little cleanse my palate.
I think that's a good call. Like I feel like most of the serious horror movies are in our top 5. And it really drops out without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's a good call.
So Tim, your favorite category, best remake potential.
I said Innocent Blood.
Mm-hmm.
I just think you could go movie or TV show at that route. Just have a definitive, are we going to take this more comedic or are we going to take it seriously? Is our character actually hating themselves? Are they enjoying it? Making decisions on these things that were problems with the original makes this such a more entertaining idea, like vampire and taking out the mob with bad people. I mean, it's like an early Dexter idea just with vampires, and I just think that would be a really interesting thing to explore.
Yeah, I think that movie, Innocent Blood, left the most meat on the bone.
Right.
As far as what could have happened. I kind of wanted to say The Vagrant has potential too, but good luck finding anyone as good as Bill Paxton. That's a tough call.
How can you recapture that? Would be the biggest problem.
Yeah. That's like, I don't know.
I agree. And I think you have a point. Like, because again, it's like, it's almost there. Those are the two movies that are like, there's something here, but they don't quite nail it.
Yeah.
And it would have been a great attempt at another swing, but I don't know how you do it without Bill Paxton.
You need to find someone as charming and that's
but can
do so much.
Yeah, that can pull off the zaniness and the patheticness, but like you still like love him and want to cheer for him. Like it's an enigma. Like very few people can pull something off like that.
Tall order.
Yeah.
Tall order.
Yeah.
Biggest difference between horror movies of 1992 and today?
I actually put a question mark here. I guess you might have already said it. Like I think there's more serious takes right now. But I couldn't quite put a finger on this one actually.
Yeah, horror today seems to be more interested in finding new ways to scare. I mean, it's the variety in the kinds of horror movies. I mean, granted,
True.
a lot of the stuff that was invented like a decade ago plus.
Well, I think streaming helps too, right? Because there's so much more horror content now.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, I feel like the genre was still relying on a lot of the trusted tropes of the 80s. And either running with the same stuff or just making fun of it. And it just it felt tired. And
a lot less nudity overall.
To today's horror movies, yeah. I mean, they're still putting out so many more PG-13 horror movies trying to be for everybody.
From compared to the 80s where there was a lot more.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
It's well, we had you remember this is post-AIDS?
Yeah.
So if there is a sex scene, someone is actually grabbing a condom to show you it's okay. Which always one of my favorite parts about late 80s, early 90s horror movies. Let's look at the condom, which is something they just gave up on.
Like in Dr. Giggles, probably the most memorable condom moment of the whole season.
Yeah, best condom moment of the season, Dr. Giggles.
Congratulations, your one award.
Yeah. So now that we've gone through it all, I got nothing. Do you have anything else?
I think, I did have a couple others. One was most deserving / satisfying death. So I thought that was a little bit different than best kill, but which one were you I thought was either the character was like, oh, I'm glad that person died, or that the way the person died or whatever was just the best. It's kind of how I kind of thought of it. And I have a toss up between Uncle Les from Dead Alive and Paul Rubens from Buffy.
Oh. Wow. Okay. Not what I thought you would have picked.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. I would have guessed that you would have picked Mr. Fallows from Sleepwalkers.
No, because the conclusion of that was so disappointing.
Oh, well, he still got his hand ripped off.
It was great. Don't get me wrong, I love that part. But I didn't even nominate that. I actually I have my nominees for this category is Uncle Les from Dead Alive, Gus from Pet Sematary 2, JP Hellraiser 3, and Paul Rubens.
I was gonna say JP too. I was thinking about that one. That guy sucks.
Yeah, those are all
those
my
red
nominations.
cowboy boots.
And as much as Paul Rubens' character didn't exactly suck, it's just such an amazing death that I had to put it in the nominations.
Don't mind talking about that again.
Ooh, boom, boom, boom. Like it's just so great.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Because those are my nominations. Do you agree with my nominations?
Yeah.
Okay. Most deserving satisfying death. Yeah.
So you said JP. Who else? Sorry.
I have Uncle Les from Dead Alive, Gus from Pet Sematary 2, JP Hellraiser 3, and Paul Rubens Buffy.
Yeah. I mean, the Paul Rubens dying was.
It's kind of hard to beat.
It's perfect.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it just depends on how it's the most satisfying. Maybe not the most deserving. So it just kind of depends on how you read the question, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, like, I don't know. Paul Marshall, like, feeding her abusive boyfriend, JP, to Pinhead is pretty damn cool.
Pretty satisfying and deserving, too. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I kind of was thinking Paul Rubens myself.
Okay, I agree.
Okay.
You got anything else?
And then, let's see, was there anything else? I feel like there was one more. Oh, I had best jump scare on here. Do you want to know what I went with? I only had one pick.
Yeah, go ahead. What you got?
Candyman with the hook through the medicine cabinet in the mirror.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
I think that was the best one.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because you're thinking that the mirror is going to close and be a jump scare, and then nope, boom, hook's coming through. Like, It's a nice little jump scare.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. And that's all I have.
All right, then. 92, done.
92 is done.
New decade, new genre time.
I know. So I guess we are going to do comedies next, right?
Right, but first we're going to take a short break.
Right, yes. We're a short break. With the holidays and everything like that, we kind of got a little behind, so we need to catch back up. But I don't think it'll be that long of a break.
No, I'm thinking like 4 weeks or so, just a month.
Yeah.
Tim coaches lacrosse in the spring, so we got to bank some episodes so he can miss if he has to.
Yes, for sure. Coaching, you got Valentine's Day, all that kind of stuff coming up. So yeah, for sure would be helpful.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, comedies in the 2000s is what we're gonna go for. So I guess next recording, we'll pick our year.
Mm-hmm.
Should we remove 2002 as an option?
Why?
Just because it'd be really weird if we go 82, 92, 2002.
Honestly, I would call like the spinner rigged if we did do 2002.
That's kind of the thinking I'm at right now. I might have a freak out moment if it lands on 2002. It'd be upsetting. But it should be fun. I mean, we're again, we don't subgenre, whatever, right? As long as it's a comedy, whether it's rom-com, slapstick, whatever, we're gonna try to go for it. And I guess similar categories, that might be an interesting one.
Yeah.
So I guess action would count for just comedic things as well. I don't know.
I probably wouldn't do like an action comedy like that.
Yeah.
Depends on what it is.
Just change it to laughs. I don't know.
Like if it's like a what are those movies?
Like
what was it? Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan.
Like action comedies?
Like maybe, I don't know. We'll go through it.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about it on this episode.
You're right. All right, you got anything else to add?
Nope.
All right, that is it for us. Please show your support for the podcast by leaving a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, where you happen to listen to the show. Also, sharing is caring. Be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest show updates. You can contact us by emailing at filmbrochamp@gmail.com or find us by searching for #filmbrochamp. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Film Bros Champ podcast. Peace out, everyone.
Tales of the Kingdom.